They will continue to
How many?
Oh.
Okay. Hey guys, you're lucky. You got 1 more minute to get your butts in here. We had a request from the pavilion for 1 more minute. And then we'll start with the new batch of prizes. We have 9 to give away right now, Jeff and I. And we're very delighted to do so. I hope you enjoyed your break and your networking opportunities. There'll be a lot more through the afternoon and the evening. So if you take your seats, please. Well, please take your seats.
Oh, okay. You have the tickets we're giving away?
Ja, ja.
Oh, awesome.
Jawohl, jawohl.
Bravo.
Please take your seats. Thank you very much.
I think no one else is coming down.
Paul, take your seat. Do I get personal now? Okay, guys, we're going to start. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah,
First prize, Jeff. Would you like to read who's going to get this one? It's an Avaha prize.
is that who's what we need from Pierre, right?
Yes, Pierre is going to give us a name from the random name drawing.
All right, it's Rami. Rami has
Rami Haskell. Is Rami Haskell in the room, please? If he's not, he doesn't get it.
He doesn't get it. Next.
He doesn't get it. Next, that will be, that goes to Guy Marom. Is Guy Marom here?
No.
No, next. Mel Klein, is he here? Yes, at the front. All right. Okay, the next prize up is a power mat, another one of these fabulous power mats. Let's see if that goes to Joe Consola, if he's here in the room. Is he?
Joe?
No, Joe? He doesn't get it. Next name. Kenneth Alter, is he there?
No.
No, next. Lydia Cole. Yay! She gets it. And the next prize is a Soda Stream, the homemade carbonator. Okay, it goes to Leanne Levine. Is she here? Nope. Next name? Daniel Friedland?
Daniel's here. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
There he goes.
yeah, more, all right.
All right. I'm thirsty. Let's go for another Soda Stream. Who gets that? Next name. Steve Herbrook. He's right here. Steve Herbrook. All right. Okay, another Arava prize goes to, next, we had Lydia before. Doron Lubstein. Is Doron here? Nope. Next, Rami Haskell. Nope. Uri Strickman. No. Arik Vrobel. Yes? Do I have a yes? Okay. Great. Let's do another power mat to Omer Malchin. Is Omer here? No, Omer. Please be quiet for 1 second. Thank you. Shh. Yarden Drimmer. Is Yarden Drimmer here to collect his power mat? No. Alan Friedman?
Alan Freeman gets the camera. He's here.
Ah, excellent. Okay, let's do one more. Avaha, we have 3 more to give away. David Ruggendorf, is he here? David? No. Okay, next name. Jonathan Cooper? Is that Jonathan Cooper? Yay, he has a Avaha. Okay, last Soda Stream carbonator for this time. Next name, Yael Perez? Yael Perez? Nope. Next. Bill Sturgis? No. Lynn Fireside? Wow, all these people missing all this stuff. Is she here? Yeah. Lynn, okay, great. And last but not least, just for now, one more power mat to Gal Hoffman. Is Gal here? No Gal? Ah, excellent. Give a round of applause for these wonderful prizes. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going back into our traditional, more of our fast and cool. And I would like to bring Dr. Hila Sarig Bahat. Is she here? Could she come up to the stage, please? And her company is Physical Virtue. And if any of you, and I bet you that at least 7 out of 10 people in this room have had a neck crick, if not a nasty whiplash from a car accident. And if you've ever had anything remotely like that, you know how hard it can be to treat or to feel better or to get better. And this is what her company specializes in, so I'm going to turn it over to her to tell you about her Fast and Cool company today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction and the privilege to be here. Can you hear me well from here? Okay. Turn this on. Here you go. Is it better now? We thought it would work. It doesn't. Okay. I'd like to tell you my story. Since my early days as a clinician, I felt uneasy whenever a patient with neck pain entered the room. This was unlike the other patients I treated, and I wondered why. In 1999, so I wondered, why isn't this low-tech working well? And therefore I wondered, why is it that I'm not helping my neck patients as well as I'm helping my knee, hip and shoulder patients? In 1999 I wrote my master's thesis at the University of South Australia on active treatments for neck pain. I then realized that the neck region was very different to other regions of the body in its neural complexity. Multiple connections exist between the neck, the eyes, and the vestibular system in the inner ear, which make it harder to solve this problem without relating to these connections. Many patients fail to recover due to traditional mechanical approaches to neck pain. I learned more about the capacity of the problem of neck pain and realized that it affects over 30% of Western population that suffer from this problem every year. A main factor that is affecting neck pain is modern lifestyle with prolonged sitting and lack of physical activity. In addition, the number of car accidents is increasing rapidly, and therefore the incidence of whiplash injuries is also on a constant rise. In emergency rooms in UK, it was reported that the incidence of whiplash injuries has risen dramatically from 7.7% to 57% in less than 2 decades. However, this is not just a serious health problem. It causes a heavy financial burden on Western society. The cost of neck pain in the US is estimated to be around $17 billion a year. In Europe, not too far from that, $13 billion. So what do we do with that huge, costly problem? Then my nationality comes in. It was only once I returned to Israel that I found a solution, or at least part of the solution. I discovered virtual reality, and this idea was born. Virtual reality introduces to us an interactive, motivating, and pain distraction environment. And what we were seeking is to integrate all those 3 systems I told you about, and therefore motion tracking with the gaming, a playing scenario, gave me the idea to start this system. Here's a short demo of our system. In a small screen, you can see what the patient sees inside the head-mounted display. So as the patient moves her head, we also collect motion data regarding her neck motion, and therefore we can analyze this motion and see and diagnose the capacity of the impairment of movement abilities, being the range of motion, the velocity of motion, her smoothness. And then we found in research that these parameters are closely related to the symptoms of the patient and his functional disability. I continued to investigate the area, and we performed a 3-phase clinical study. The findings showed that we have an objective, reliable, and diagnostic method, which is essential when you want to develop a medical device. But in addition, a most striking finding is that we find a significant therapeutic effect compared to conventional methods, being that patients who interacted within this scenario improved and enhanced their mobility more than when they used just conventional instructed voluntary motion. And this is a significant point because we know from research that there's a difference when someone voluntarily moves his neck to when he's just responding spontaneously to an external cue. And these are all motor learning principles that we knew before. Physical Virtue introduces an advanced diagnostic and therapeutic solution supported by clinical research. Our solution is suitable for clinical use, so the clinician can diagnose and measure the impairment in the clinic. And then it is also adaptable for home or work use, so the clinician can actually modify the parameters and tailor a program for training, provide a set for the patient, and he takes it home or work, or whether it's on his iPhone application, and he can train many times a day and therefore improve his pain, walk through his pain, and get rid of the mechanical problem as well. We do have prospects for additional breakthrough solutions to serious health problems, all dealing with motion impairments. And I'd like to finish with a personal tone. I became a physiotherapist after a severe injury I went through, and my aim in life ever since is to help others recover and get over with their pain and continue to function regularly. This methodology presented to you here is capable to help millions of people out there suffering from neck pain. Thank you.
I'd like to, we have no time, so thank you. I would, first of all, by the way, my friend Yoni Bloch is here. Those of you who know Yoni's music, you're invited to stay from 7 to 9 for an amazing concert. And I'm extending an invitation. If you have any friends in the neighborhood who want to come at 7 o'clock for the concert, please reach out and tell them to come here because it's going to be an amazing night of music. I thank Sharona for reaching out and making sure his band's here too. And Yoni's too shy for me to introduce him and to embarrass him, so I can't. But we have some great companies outside. When you choose to be outside in Schmooze, please be sure to see Marvell, Kaltura, Ray V, Summit Express, and Sidekick. And I understand you actually shouldn't leave the Israel conference without playing around with Sidekick. Sharona, it's back to you. And you have a panel to bring on? Give it up to this lady. She's working her ass off. Come on, come on.
Thank you, Jeff. You know, I've got Jeff up here.
Oh.
I've got to tell you all this. If you will Google Jeff Pulver, you will find that this is the most important guy in the world.
No,
Why?
no.
Don't, seriously?
No,
Seriously?
no.
It is true. It's true.
person. I'm a person.
Okay, he's one of the
Okay.
most important.
I'm a person.
Okay, when you think Vonage, you think Vonage. I pronounce it like an Israeli. When you think Vonage,
Yes.
you think Jeff Pulver, and thank Jeff Pulver for all the opportunity to do voice over IP.
Thank you.
So our next panel is an exciting one because we're going to go away from the world of technology and we're going to enter into the world of consumer products. Now, many of you get those blue and white emails of buy Israel, buy Israel. Well, this is your opportunity to get to know a little bit more about what it means to buy Israel. And I hope that all of you, when you go into stores, walk right up to a manager and you say, gee, do you have any product here that's made in Israel? And help those managers to buy for you product to put in their stores that they're selling, and turn it over and look for the Made in Israel or Designed in Israel label. Because we're going to find out now about some very high-end, high-quality consumer products that are made in Israel. And with that, I'd like to invite up to the stage the CEO for the U.S. of Ahava Creams, is Ilana. Thank you. I'd like to invite up to the stage the chairman and CEO of Carmel Winery, 120 years old and counting, a very fine vintage winery. And I'd like to invite up to the stage the one and the only bicycle, high-end racing bicycle manufacturer out of the state of Israel, Gal Segal. And I'm going to join in the panel today to help in being a discussant with our panel. And so welcome. Thank you very much. These are the folks that spend a lot of time designing products, making products, and developing products. I would like to start with a little bit the story of wine. And with that in mind, thank you. I don't have a mic, but that's it. Can I just, oh, thank you. With that in mind, we have a short presentation about Carmel Winery? You know, Carmel Wines, as we're going to learn, is a really unique and very special because for those of you who have toured a winery in Israel, and how many of you have toured a winery in Israel? Terrific. Well, now you're going to go to a Carmel Winery and get a sense of how beautiful it is to see a winery that is maybe one of the oldest in the Mideast, and that is the tastiest in the Mideast, and that's winning a ton of prizes. Israel Yivsan, let me introduce you, and please take it away.
Just try to move the slides, please. The story of Carmel. The story of Carmel is the story of the new Jewish nation in Israel. 130 years ago, a couple of thousands of Jewish people from Europe decided that they should leave Europe. Unfortunately, this is my personal thought, they didn't get a green card to the United States. So they didn't have any other choice, and they went to Israel. They brought some money, not a lot of money, and they started doing agriculture in Israel. It was terrible. The country was full of malaria. Most of them, especially children, passed away, and they lost weight. And then one day, one of the guys decided that he had to meet Baron Edmond de Rothschild. I don't know how he did it, but he reached Baron Edmond de Rothschild, and they had a conversation. And Baron Edmond de Rothschild decided to invest in Israel. It's not Israel, it's Palestine. No feasibility study, no economical plan, nothing. In our days, it won't work. Everybody wants to see a feasibility study, nothing. De Rothschild decided to invest in these families. As I said before, not more than 1,000 families. And they established two big wineries in Israel, one in Rishon and one in Zichron. De Rothschild invested in our terms today about $70 million in this project, wineries and vineyards. And the project starts running. They planted vineyards, they did wine, they bottled the wine, and the first Israeli brand comes to the world, the Carmel brand. And it's still existing. Doesn't anybody knows who is the second brand? Jaffa oranges. No more Jaffa oranges in the world. But the second brand was Jaffa oranges. First brand, first exporter, first agriculture project, French winemakers, very high quality. The project starts to run. And it runs from 1889, when the first winery was launched after it was built. First wine was 1890. And Carmel is exporting all over the world. Everybody knows who Carmel is. Every Jewish family buys Carmel, and it's quite nice. And then one day, Israel wakes up into another reality. The other reality is 48. Israel is multiplying its population by 5, and there is no food, no wine, no infrastructure for anybody. Most of the, I did see it. It will take another minute. I will get a spare minute. Try to think about people coming from the Holocaust, starving, having no food, nothing, and the country is not able to supply them. And then Carmel switches from a winery to a wine supplier. And for 30 years, the food industry in Israel is the food supplier. No marketing, no branding, nothing. Yellow cheese, white cheese, chicken, fish. That's all. No varieties, no brands, no marketing. This goes till the 80s. In the 80s, people are exposed to the world. Israeli in the 70s are starting to travel. Many people are coming to Israel. And Israel is seeking for new products and branding. And this is the big tragedy of Carmel. Carmel is in a stagnation. Carmel is very happy with the management. No needs, nothing. No changes, no new technology. What brings Carmel in the mid of 2005 to bankruptcy. And the brand is very close to disappear. And then everybody is shocked. Are we going to lose a brand of 120 years? Immediately, all the banks and all the debtors are creating a team, and I was asked to structure a recovery program. We are now in the end of the recovery program. We planted new plants, new vineyards. We brought in young winemakers. We throw out of the boat all activities that cause damages. We build new brands like Yatir, Kayumi, and Carmel. Go to the slide just before the last one, because I told the story. But still the population is Israel is not giving us any credit. Everybody hates us. Everybody thinks that we caused big damage to the consumers. No dialogue. Something should be done. And then we decide to go to the world. We have no other choice. We started participating in the global competitions of wine. Here in Hollywood, you have the Oscar of the media. In London, we have the Oscar of the wine. And we were lucky. After 2 years, we got the trophy of the Oscar of the wine. This is something that never happened in Israel for 120 years. And Robert Parker, the American wine critic, he writes about Carmel in the Newsweek. It happened in December 2008. I was in New York. I had a phone call from one of the top Israeli wine critics. He called me at night. He didn't call me in order to bless me. He called me because he thought that something was mistaken in the internet. It couldn't happen that somebody wrote about Carmel in the Newsweek. And Robert Parker, he's even not Jewish. So, and that's the way, and Carmel is back to the place it should be. We are doing a lot of things. We decided to deepen our connection with the community. We have a wonderful site in Zichron. It's a wine workshop. Whenever you come to Israel, you should order in advance. It's not available. Another minute. I said minute, you know, we never know if minute it's 60 seconds or more. It's our decision. You know, it's a joke, but don't count my time. It's always a very big question. According to the religious, the word is existing for 5,700 years. But we do know that the word is existing for billions of years. So how does it match? How does it match? And the answer is that we decided that the year is 365 days, but we never asked God how many days he counts per year. So that's about a minute. Okay, I finish. You are invited to visit us. You are invited to consume our wines. Wherever you don't find our wines in the States, and it might be a problem, please inform us, send us an email. We shall do our best. Be our guest. Thank you for your time.
Now that makes us thirsty, but we also want to look beautiful. And I'd like to introduce you to Ahava. I know that all my drawers are filled with Ahava. I get it at hotels, I buy it in stores, and I'm wearing it right now. Can you tell? Thank you, thank you. It makes me very dewy. And I'd like to introduce to you Ilana Drell-Sizer, who is the CEO of North America for Ahava, to tell us a little bit about the growth of the company and why Ahava is one of the most unique products that's coming out of Israel.
Thank you, Sharona. Well, first, just to tell you a little bit about the company. We are a skincare company, and our vision is really to bring the virtues or the properties of the Dead Sea through skincare to consumers worldwide. When you think of Ahava, you have to think of the Dead Sea. So just 2 seconds on the Dead Sea. It's the lowest point on Earth. The Dead Sea itself is made up of 32% of minerals, which make the highest mineral content body of water on the Earth. And for anyone who's been there, they know that it is very well known for its healing and restorative properties, as well as the fact that you can float on it. I'm not going to give you a chemistry lesson, and my tech is a very different type of tech, but just two things. The body itself is made up of minerals. There are about 5% minerals. Minerals are important in the moisturization of skin itself, and there are many minerals that are found in the Dead Sea in high proportions that do make up your skin's natural moisturizing factor. And that's what makes some of the minerals in the Dead Sea important for restoring and keeping your skin looking great. A little bit about us. We were created in 1986 in a partnership between 3 kibbutz. There are over 70 Dead Sea brands in Israel. We are the only ones who have the exclusive rights to mine minerals from the Israeli government. We are the only ones who own our own R&D facility and are located right at the Dead Sea. And we are certainly the ones who are most well known both in Israel and outside of Israel. What do? We bring together Dead Sea minerals and plants to create product. We are very well known for the efficacy of our product. We try and both harvest as well as manufacture in an environmentally friendly way. We don't test at all on animals, and we're very involved in trying to maintain the ecological balance of our environment as well as the Dead Sea. The brand is really about balance. It's about a balance between science and performance and nature, between the idea of effective products but also having an amazing experience, and between the logic and the rationale of performance, and yet there is this mystical element and this kind of magical idea around the Dead Sea, and we are now becoming, I think, more and more consumer focused. So what makes us unique? It is what I say the motor behind our products is called an osmotor. And it is our own unique and proprietary blend of these Dead Sea minerals that goes into every single one of our products. It is our point of differentiation as well as our point of uniqueness. We now write about it on the top of every single one of our cartons. And it has been proven to both renew, revive, and recharge the skin. We believe there are 3 causes of aging: dehydration, exposure to UV, and inflammation. Essentially, the osmotor fights all of them. We are exported in 30 countries. We're available in leading chains. And our goal now is to really focus on the U.S. and to make the U.S. the biggest growth market for the company worldwide, and then to utilize the success we have in the U.S. and export it globally. In order to sort of achieve those goals, we have just gone through a very major process of rebranding, reformulating all of our products to be more natural, free of parabens. We've recreated our brand voice. We've narrowed our line by about 25%. We're organizing our products differently. And we're in the process of restructuring our U.S. organization, which included me joining the team in January. So that's a little bit about us, and I'll just show you a before and after. You may recognize the top row as what our products used to look like, and the second row is what they look like now as of April in the U.S.
Well, excellent. I'll say that that top row filled my bathroom, and the bottom row is out here in the pavilion. So all of you can leave today with samples, thanks to Alana. They have Ahava product, and you can go home looking glowing, dewy, moisturized, and younger. And be sure, when you go to boutique stores and department stores and drug stores, are those some of the channels?
Specialty stores and independent pharmacies, and 2 department stores, Nordstrom and Lord & Taylor.
Okay, Nordstrom and Lord & Taylor, I expect you all to be there this weekend buying Ahava product and increasing the penetration of Ahava into every department store that you can come across. Right. Now, what's really interesting, when we were putting together this panel, to know that we have magnesium being put into Ahava products or minerals, and then I met the most extraordinary man, Gal Segal. Well, I got him on the phone, and he said, wait a second, I'm on a racing bike. And he sent me a picture of him. As you can see, there's Gal, racing through the highways and byways of Israel on a bicycle built for one. That's a mountain bike, a racing bike, and it's all made out of magnesium, and some of that comes also out of the Dead Sea. So from your face?
Face of the bike.
To the bike.
Okay.
Gal Segal, tell us about how you came up with a bicycle.
Okay, hello everyone. And this picture is from a competition in Eilat Mountains, half Ironman, and... לא שומעים, okay. Now it's better? Okay. So this picture is a competition from in Eilat Mountains. Nice area to ride, if someone wants. About the company, it started from, it's one of the companies that we are running, which is development that came from the R&D of the main company, which is Alubin. The company which working in a different area than the bikes. It's aluminum systems for the building industry. But as a big company, we have a development department which make development of systems. And in that, we arrived to deal with magnesium profiles. And one thing lead to another, and we are in the bike business, hopefully. About the companies that we have, Alubin is a company which deal with aluminum, one of the biggest company in Israel. Another development that we do from this company is we call it a company with the aluminum for the aerospace, for another discussion. We call the company Aviron, and it's another company that developed from the main business of Alubin. And Segal Bikes it's the bike company. About the name, we thought about that, and as Israelis with chutzpah, we decide if Compagnolo or Pinorello in Italy 100 years ago can make a bikes and take the names on his name, so we can also. So we'll see if it will be a brand name in the future. About myself, never mind. Okay. This is a nice picture again from travel in Israel. It's a group that we just organized from Eilat to our home back, which is near Haifa. This is somewhere on the way. About the idea of the bikes, it started as a development of the company, which is just extrusion of magnesium profiles. But we look for a market for that, and we figure out that the road bike, it's a market for special things, lightweight, and each gram is very important. And we added this idea to the possibility to produce extrusions of magnesium alloy, and it's bring us to a solution, which is the magnesium bikes. It's not, it's very unique because in the world there is almost no producers which use the magnesium alloys for the bikes. Some tried but failed, and this is another target we try to deal with. There are, sorry, the magnesium alloys is bring the potential use of a strong, tough or stiff material, and lightweight. Lightweight, which is the target for this market. About the magnesium, it's one and only, I think, metal material which came from the Dead Sea also. I think this is the only place that can bring material, except honey and wine and other things, which are not commercial materials. About the bikes itself, the results came to bikes which give a very good solution and results for bike racers. It's very hard for a new company, especially an Israeli company, which Israel is not a company, it's not a country which produce bikes. So for us it's very hard. It's very hard to deal with. Our product is very unique. It came from a country which is not bicycle producers, and still we have a good product which we can compete. So the target is to market, to promote and sell around the world. Thank you.
Yeah. I have a question to the panel. Oftentimes we hear, is it made in Israel? And I was wondering, does that help your brand? Do you avoid that question? How are you using the strength of Made in Israel to help you expand your distribution and open up new markets? And I thought we might start, actually, Gal? Then Ilana.
It depends where on the world you're asking, because there are countries which Israel is concerned a good product, a good production, and a good technology. In Europe, for example, we are not so welcome, so it's different. And also it depends what kind of products. Military products probably well known with good reputation. Other products depend. About bikes, Israel is not yet okay. It's not a country with well-known bike production. Till we started with that, it was no production at all. So, and also the market in Israel is very young, relate to bike. What you have here for many years is not existing in Israel. It's just a few years now. Sorry. Okay.
And Ilana, how do you find Ahava with the Made in Israel in the box? How do you market that?
I think it's similar to Gal. I think that part of the story, obviously, is the authenticity of the Dead Sea, and it's critical. For some people, it's meaningful. For some people, it doesn't mean anything in a neutral way, which can be positive. But I think for some, it is a negative, and we do face those challenges at times, particularly in the U.S., but also in Europe as well.
Right. So we have a road ahead of us to overcome that, so that Made in Israel really stands for something very cool, especially coming from the Dead Sea. In Israel, you're winning awards, and so Made in Israel must be a good thing.
I think that Carmel is known above Israel. So, but it's getting more and more difficult, mainly in Europe. We are facing violence in the shops. People are entering shops mainly in the UK and moving bottles from the shelves and breaking the bottles on the floor because it's an Israeli product. And we have to invest a lot of efforts in order to support and to protect our product.
To the panel, do you find that in Israel there's something unique in innovation or in mechanism that is allowing you to really differentiate what you have to get ahead in your market category, to make you more different because of what's developed in Israel, either the composition of the creams, the technology of the bicycle, or the science behind wine?
I think that we can, it's a matter of what is the product. If it gives some benefits, it's no matter if it's coming from Israel in general. Of course, there are places that the political issue is effect on the product or on the sales. But as a product, we can, it's no matter if there is something which is some advantage in the product. Sometimes it's not even real advantage, just a promotion or a marketing issue, and it can work.
Okay. Ilana.
I think in our case, certainly, across luxury goods and specifically in cosmetics, people are seeking alternatives, and they're looking for brands that are authentic, that have a story, that have a handcrafted nature to them. And I think that there is great added value in the story about the Dead Sea. I also think that the cosmetics industry as a whole is moving towards things that are more nature-inspired, natural, free of chemicals. And, Ahava has just reformulated all of its products to be what we call more skin-friendly. And that's something that within the next 5 years will basically be a point of entry for most cosmetics companies. And it's something that they've done early enough in the game for, a small to mid-sized company that it's just too hard right now for too many of the big companies to undertake that level of R&D. And so I do think that is part of, the entrepreneurial spirit as well as the values of us as a company.
All right, some nimbleness in Ahava that the bigger companies may not be able to keep up with. All right, very nice. In Israel, special technology that's used?
I think that what we are offering today, the market, are special varietals that are special for Israel and special for the Mediterranean, and this is the area where we are trying to get the benefits.
All right, beautiful. Well, I want to let you all know we are serving wine from Carmel Winery. Everyone gets at least 3 glasses, but you have to get a designated driver afterwards, or 4. All right, Israel, courtesy of Israel and Carmel Winery. So that will be tonight, starting at around 7 o'clock. We're going to open up the wine bottles, and it'll be beautiful, pouring it for all of you. Throughout the day, you can get Ahava samples at the Ahava Pavilion. And if you are very fortunate, Israel, what does your bike average retail for? I mean, Gal, what does it retail for?
It's a question that I don't think that can answer like that the price per, because it's varied dramatically from
Yes.
low, mid price to
It's
high end.
anywhere from 5,000 to 15,000?
No, something hopefully but
Higher?
not. You're responsible for the auction later on. Okay, we'll see what you can get. But in general, the prices for retail prices is about $2,000, even less, to about $7,000 or $8,000.
All right.
This is the range.
Right, so if you brought your credit card with you today, towards the end of the day, between 5 and 6 o'clock, we are going to be auctioning off the bicycle that Gal brought with him. But before that, please go to his area in the pavilion and take a look at it. Maybe you can take a little spin, very little spin.
No, there is no spin.
No spins.
No.
You can look, you can admire, and put in your bid. And I want to thank our panel for consumer products. It's a little bit of the taste of what you should be looking for when you go shopping. Always look for the Made in Israel sign. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Next up, as we whiz right along, is another wonderful, fast, and cool company. Is Dror Wetterstein here from Xido? Could he come up, please? Hello, Dror. It's very bright lights here. Is that Dror? Excellent. That's you. Great. So Xido is a software virtualization and a delivery platform, and it creates managed work appointment spaces that we all could do an awful lot with instead of carrying all our company paraphernalia around with us. But I'm going to let him tell the story in much better detail than I can, so please welcome him. Thank you.
It's crowded here. So thank you all for inviting me. This is a bit of a change for me. I'm used to speak in technical conferences about security, virtualization, risks, whatsoever. So the only fast and cool I can do right now is actually show you the demo. So let me just log in. Yeah. So I'm ready. So as she mentioned, we are an Israeli software vendor. We were established in 2005. Thank you. We provide a software that takes these devices, this is a standard USB flash drive device, and it makes it the world's smallest computer. And what do I mean by smallest computer? Can you set the echo? So we take this device, we load standard Windows application on that. Windows application like Office, like Skype, like CRM, like any other application, without the need to change them. We pack them together, we create what we call a virtual workspace that is installed on these devices. Now, these devices are later